Hello, beautiful people. Today is 1st of October. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS Fodder. So, today we'll take a quote from the Martin Luther King Jr., the one who was the most pronounced civil rights activist and fought for the rights for the minorities in the US. He says, true peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. So, guys, justice is an enabling condition which fulfills the idea of peace and all such liberal ideals. Guys, we can utilize this particular quote into the questions of GS paper number 2 as well as into the papers of GS paper number 4. So, guys, that's all. And now let's have today's newspaper analysis.
Now guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper. Now guys, here we can see that the verdict with respect to the demolition of Babri case has come and 31 people including the LK Advani has been acquitted. Guys, we don't need to go into this particular matter, that what it was not relevant for our UPSC exam. Then guys, here we can see that with respect to the unlock, the cinema halls, theme parks, etc. are being allowed to open from 15th of October. However, the further advisories were to be given by the state government. With respect to the higher education institution also, the government is needed to take certain measures. However, guys, you need not to go into too much of these things because these are some procedural things which will be which are prone to change in every 10-15 days. Then guys, here we can see that as we had taken up that a plea was made to the Supreme Court with respect to the postponement of the civil service exam. So Supreme Court has refused that particular thing. Now guys, here into this particular news we can see that a case study where the Bharatpur has become the first district into the Rajasthan to install the neonatal respirators at all the hospitals including the primary healthcare facilities. So guys, can be a very good example and we can utilize it into the questions with respect to the prelims. Now guys, here we can see that the stubble burning has been called as unviable, the incentive has been called as unviable, so we'll see this thing. Then guys, moving forward into the section, nothing city section, nothing important with respect to the exam has been given. Now we come to the editorial page. This particular editorial talks about the maritime sphere where India needs to focus. We'll see this thing. Then guys, this particular entire this big article is talking about the Babri verdict which has come. Guys, much of political inclination is there, we not need to go into this article. Then guys, this is about the Quad, that how Quad will help China, we can counter the China or we can corner the China. Guys, many a times such kind of thing has been seen. Now guys, this particular article talks about changing the health behavior. We'll see this thing. Then guys, this article is about the one language policy. After that guys, here we can see that the ideal weight for the Indian men and women has been redefined. We'll see this thing. Then guys, this again entire page is filled with the political news not important for our exam. Then guys, here we can see that the data with respect to the crime rates have been given by NCRB, so we'll see and we can utilize. Then guys, the showcase page not important for our exam. After that guys, the world page, the US elections has been mentioned, not actually needed. Then guys, here we can see that certain news with respect to the fiscal deficit has been mentioned, and here the current account surplus has been mentioned, so we'll see these things. Then guys, the next page is the sports page. IPL related news has been given, not needed for our exam. So guys, that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail.
Now, guys, taking up the first news. So, this particular news pertains to the stubble burning issue. Now, guys, this particular topic is important for our GS paper number 1, GS paper number 3, as well as for the prelims. Now, guys, let talking about this particular thing. As the winter approaches, the problem of pollution pronounced particularly into the North India, and often it has been said that around these months, Delhi particularly becomes a gas chamber. Now, how this from where this pollution is coming? It is coming from the stubble burning that is going into the Haryana, Punjab, and some regions of the western Uttar Pradesh. Now, guys, for the stubble burning, earlier the state governments from their own fund they started to give 100 rupees per quintal to the farmers who did not burn the stubble. Now, guys, this particular year the state government are asking the center government that you please give some money to the farmers on per quintal price rate, for example 100 rupees per quintal, so that the farmers don't burn the stubble. Now guys, on to the behalf of the center, the Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority EPCA has said to the Supreme Court that it is not viable for the center to give such money. If the states want, then states onto their own initiative have to provide some such money to the farmers. So guys, this is a particular issue which has happened here. Now guys, as we talk about the stubble burning issue and the pollution associated with it, it happened to be a very disastrous thing, and under article number 20, for article number 21's violation, many a times citizens have appealed for that particular thing also. However guys, every year the same phenomena gets repeated. Now as we are talking about the stubble burning, there could be certain solutions which could also be worked upon apart from this monetary thing. Now guys, fermented liquid has been prepared by the Pusa Institute, and this fermented liquid, if it is sprayed onto the stubble, then stubble itself gets melted and it is absorbed by the soil. There is no physical usage to there is no physical need to remove the stubble. So this particular thing could be done. Secondly guys, the direct seeding of rice could be done. Now what is the direct seeding of rice? This is a method to grow the paddy in which the paddy is not raised into the nursery. Directly the seeds are sowed into the field. Now guys, traditionally when the transplantation method is done, where the separately the saplings are raised into the nursery, that particular method is very much time taking, and because of that particular method, the harvesting of the paddy becomes late, and as it becomes late, the next crop, that is the rabi wheat, has to be sown. So therefore the time is very less and the farmer has to burn this stubble. So guys, therefore if we do the direct seeding of rice, this particular variety takes less time, the harvesting will be early, there will be a window in which even if the farmer want, they can do all such kind of procedures. So guys, the direct seeding of rice, this liquid fermentation, etc., could also be the other ways on which government should focus, and not only onto this financial component it should be fixated. Now guys, as we had discussed about the EPCA, so what this EPCA is? So it is an authority which is created under the Environment Protection Act of 1986, and this particular authority is not just an advisory body, rather it is a high powered body which have all the powers to issue the directions as it can be done by the center government. So guys, that its power is equal to the center government. It can take the suo motu actions also with respect to the environment pollution. Moreover guys, there is a phenomena, that is the graded response plan. So graded response plan is this, that whenever the pollution will increase, some kind of immediate solutions or measures are to be taken. So that graded response plan is also implemented by the Environment Prevention Control Authority. So guys, please keep all these things into mind, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, taking up the next article, so this particular article talks about the need of India to shift its focus onto the maritime sphere. Now, first of all guys, if we see into the present times, what has happened, India's focus has been onto the continental sphere. Now, what is this continental focus? Our foreign relations, our foreign policies are guided or are more centric towards our land neighbors. And as we talk about land neighbor, the Pakistan and China are the major players here. So according to them, majority of our foreign policy is designed. Now guys, it has been said that if we see right now, then China is giving us problem onto the LAC sector. Then guys, the Pakistan is giving us problem onto the border, as now there have been the largest number of ceasefire violations. Then guys, if we see the Afghanistan, then from Afghanistan, USA is pulling out, and as Taliban is negotiating the peace deal. So into the course of time, as Taliban will be returning as a legitimate stakeholders in Afghanistan, India will not be having much of a gain in this particular process, because we have not been on good terms with the Taliban. So onto the land neighbors, our relations are not going good, and into the near future, there is not even a hope that relations with them will be improved, because the China's assertiveness is such that China is not ready to go back to the status quo of March. They have captured the territories in towards the LAC. Same attitude is of Pakistan, and with Afghanistan also similar kind of thing is going on. So guys, it has been said that right now we need to shift to the maritime sphere. Now guys, why maritime sphere, or why maritime based focus on foreign policies needed to be given? So guys, see here, if you will see into this particular map, then you can find that towards the land based periphery we have the limited neighbors. But if you will focus onto the maritime front, our relationships can go as far as Africa, USA, Americas, and up till the extreme east of the Asia. So guys, the possibilities are more towards the maritime front, and not the possibilities are more, but guys, there is also the basically the China Pak collusion, which is onto the border front, land border front, that is not into the sea. So you know that the Shaksjam Valley was given by Pakistan to the China. So because of these particular things, the cooperation is more, but towards the seaside, such cooperation is not there. After that, guys, Indo-Pacific has become very popular term these days, and because of this Indo-Pacific, all the countries have a very important interest into the Indo-Pacific region, and India's strategic location is such that all the countries want to cooperate with India. Now, guys, the USA has always been interested here. France as well as Germany, in just last few months, they have released their Indo-Pacific guidelines for the cooperation, and it shows that India happens to be a very important player here. So guys, again a kind of more cooperation will be given to India. Then guys, the China's unilateralism which China has shown into the South China Sea, because of that the sympathies are diverted to India, because India is a counter to China. So guys, because of that particular factor also, India will be getting much more support. So guys, because of this particular things, it has been said that governments focus or with respect to the foreign policy needs to be onto the maritime sphere, as it is more promising than the continental sphere focuses. So guys, all such kind of ideas have been provided here, and with respect to the GS paper number 2, what could be the course of our foreign policy, we can provide this particular thing as a dimension. So guys, that's all about this particular issue, and now let's move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article is important with respect to the GS paper number 2, and it talks about the health behavior. Fine. Now guys, it has been said that as we are seeing the pandemic has made us realized that the people's health trend, for example, the diet that they are having, the physical activity, whether they are doing it or not, their sleep, smoking, substance use, etc., they are very much crucial. The people who are having such kind of unhealthy behavior, they are more prone to the pandemic as well as the COVID-19. Now guys, what government's approach has been into the present pandemic? Government approach is such that it is just focusing on to the testing, and also testing of those people who had registered the symptoms. Now this particular approach is not appreciated, because by this you are only nabbing the people who have been infected. You are not focusing on to the people who could be infected. You are not identifying the culprit even before he had committed the crime. Such kind of thing has been suggested here. So it has been said that government should identify the vulnerable groups who might get encountered to the COVID-19. Now guys, on them the systemic surveillance has to be carried. Their risk, basically the risky health behavior which is being followed by these people, that needs to be enumerated, and for that the preventive steps are needed to be taken. Now guys, it has been said that there are certain people whose occupation is such that they are more prone to get infected. For example, the people who are into the enforcement, the people who are the health professionals. So guys, within this category we need to focus more. And guys, after identifying them, we need to work on to their behavior modification. Now guys, everybody knows that the wearing of mask and maintaining a social distancing is needed, but actually people are not doing it, because just cognitively they have known, but still their behavior is like old one. So their behavior has to be modified. Moreover guys, the relation between occupation and health vulnerability, as I have told you, is there. So that vulnerability needs to be identified, and the government has to take the responsibility. Now guys, government has taken also limited responsibility. For example, under the Epidemic Disease Act of 1897, the state government has issued various directions. Under the National Disaster Management Act, central government has issued various directions. The police people, they are basically they are directed that they should see whether people are wearing the mask in public or all such kind of things. That is good. Now As the same time as they are seeing these people, whether they are following or not, the penalties are also being levied onto the people. For example, 500 rupees fine if you don't wear the mask. It raises some ethical questions. The ethical question is such that many number of times the rickshaw puller, the cart pullers, these people are being fined 500 rupees. Can they pay at the time when the economic activities are not good and people are having so much of the financial problems? Fine. So guys, these particular things are there. And it has been said that not only onto the testing of the people who have been infected, rather the entire behaviors of the people are needed to be changed. So guys, all these issues have been provided here. However, not too much specific insights have been provided, but onto a general note, such kind of issue suggestions you can also give into your answer. So friends, that's all. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article provides the ideal weight for the Indian men as well as women. Now, according to the ICMR's National Institute for Nutrition, it has been said that the ideal weight for the adult male member needs to be 65 kg, and for female it needs to be 55. Now, such weight is onto the basis of their age. So, age which has been taken here is 19 to 39 years. Now, guys, such a kind of ideal weight or the model weight has been ascertained by seeing the data from the National Family Health Survey 4, by seeing the data from the National Nutrition Monitoring Bureau NNMB, World Health Organizations, and the Indian Academy of Pediatrics. So, on to that particular basis, such kind of ideal weight has been ascertained. Now, guys, for basically the male as well as the female, it has also been provided that what should needs to be their diet intake, how much of legumes, how much of fat, etc., is to be taken. However, into those kind of very specific details, we need not to go. Now, guys, what could be the relevance of such particular thing? Into GS paper number 2, the interventions for food, their health, when we are talking about them, guys, often we ignore the kind of the interventions onto the basis of such kind of a physiological factors. See, often we say that the hunger is needed to be removed. But guys, not only hunger is needed to be removed, but the people are also to be given the best of their health. And that what could be the defining parameter for that? The defining parameter for that is the ideal weight that is to be attained for them. So such kind of parameters will provide a kind of a yardstick that, okay, what type of health is to be given. So guys, there it could be usable. So guys, that's all about this particular thing. However, much is not there. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the rising crimes against the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. Now friends, when we talk about the scheduled these crimes, see, in our country, the social status, the status with respect to your caste as well as your economic status, both are linked. The person more into the lower caste tend to be more poor or more economically vulnerable. Now, you don't need to see one or two examples, but onto the countrywide level, such kind of correlation has been noted. And guys, when a person is socially at the lower level, economically they are at the lower level, there is a tendency that the crimes against them will also increase because they will not have the bargaining power. Now, according to the data by the National Crime Record Bureau, it has been said that in 2019, the crime against the scheduled caste increased by 7%, whereas crime against the scheduled tribe increased by 26%. Now, guys, UP registered the highest crime against the scheduled caste, whereas Madhya Pradesh registered the highest crimes against the scheduled tribes. Moreover, it has also been provided that the rape cases against the scheduled caste women were highest into the Rajasthan, whereas against the scheduled tribe women they were highest into the Madhya Pradesh. Now, these particular data sets could be important when we are writing the answers with respect to the social justice as how vulnerable sections are facing the problem. So guys, this particular such kind of data by NSCRB becomes very important, and as it helps to authenticate our answers. So guys, it has been provided here. So that's it. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article provides that the current account surplus has widened to $19.8 billion into the first quarter. Now, first of all, what is this current account surplus? So guys, we maintain a balance of payment account. balance of payment account is simply an account as what money India is sending out or what money India is receiving from the outside countries. So this is the balance of payment. Every dollar or every foreign currency coming in India and every currency going outside of the India. So this BOP account is maintained in two sections. First of all, there will be a current account, there will be a capital account. Now onto the current account side, there will be the visibles and invisibles. Now visible items are those which are the goods, merchandise goods. We are buying some good, we are basically we are importing some good, we are exporting some good. We are importing the crude oil, we are exporting the grains, clothes, etc. Fine. So at the end of the day, this visible component, either our export will be more or our import will be more. So on that basis, either there could be a surplus or there could be a deficit. Similarly, guys, on to the invisible side also, there could be the surplus or there could be deficit. So the total of this entire current account side, either this entire total could be deficit or a total could be surplus. Now, guys, here we had registered a kind of a surplus, which is a good kind of thing. Now, surplus means that we have received more of a foreign currency, and as the foreign currency have received more, our forex reserves will also increase. This is the implication. Now, guys, as we have talked about the current account, the opposite side, that is the capital account, it contains three components: the foreign investment India is making overseas, investment other people or the foreign residents are making in India. Either it could be positive, it could be negative. Then the loan that the India has taken from the foreign countries as well as India has given to the foreign countries. So such a loan, it could be the positive, it could be negative. Then the banking capital, the money that the foreigners are keeping into the Indian banks or the money that Indians are keeping into the foreign banks. So guys, this on these particular component also, either we would have received more or we would have given more. So from here also a kind of a deficit as well as surplus will be calculated. Now, guys, this particular article says that the current account surplus has been there because of certain factors. First of all, because of lockdown, the into the entire world lockdown, India's lockdown, we imported less of the commodities, as our import were less, our exports were basically onto a consistent kind of level, and because of that particular thing we registered a surplus. Moreover, if you see into the last 4 or 5 months, the prices of the crude oil was also relatively lower, and because of that particular thing, though our import payments got reduced, and guys, as lockdown was there, crude imports were also reduced into the quantity that we were consuming. So when all these factors are combined, we got a kind of a surplus, and as surplus is there, our foreign exchange reserves will be increased. So guys, all this particular thing has been provided here in this particular article, and now we move to the next article. Now friends, this particular article pertains to government's borrowing plan. Now friends, what happens? Government, when it announces the budget, it makes an estimate that there will be certain money that we will be raising by the revenues. We will raise money from the tax resources, from the non-tax resources. At the same time, it also makes an estimate that there will be certain money that we need to spend. We need to spend it onto the current account expenditures as well as onto the capital account expenditures. Now, guys, often there happens a mismatch between the money that will be received as well as the money that will be spent. Now, this particular deficit is called as the fiscal deficit, and all the time fiscal deficit is not bad because the developing countries have their own demand. They have need to invest into the human resource development, infrastructure development, and all such kind of things, which will give a return into the times to come. So therefore, deficit is fine. But guys, if deficit increases too much, then that is a problem. So therefore, every year government also decides a limit within which the deficit will be capped. Then that deficit limit is actually basically by that particular thing we are trying to make our finances more sustainable. Now, guys, as the COVID-19 started, government was not able to be very specific to that limit. So guys, already by the 5 months into the financial year, we have completed 109% of the fiscal deficit target, and the year is still remaining. So it is very clear that we will be having more bigger deficit. And guys, to finance that deficit, government said that we will borrow 12 lakh crore rupees from the market. Now it was then said to the government that you are borrowing so much of money, but how you will pay the money, because there the economic activity and everything is very bad. So government said that no, we will borrow, and into the second half of the year the economic activities will improve, and by that we will receive the money. Also by that we can alleviate the pain that we have taken from the borrowing. So guys, only this thing has been provided in this particular article. Now guys, it has been said that as 12 lakh crore rupees are being borrowed, government is also keeping in mind that this leave the room for the state as well as private also to borrow. Now guys, going a little bit beyond the scope of this particular article, you know that the state governments also need to incur money for the testing, for the health and all such kind of things. And guys, states government have to receive the GST compensation from the center. But the center said that right now we cannot give you the GST compensation because this is an act of God. And therefore, states also have to borrow the money. So government said that even after borrowing 12 lakh crore rupees, the state government will be having enough of room, enough of money will be there that they can also borrow. And at the same time, private will also be having a room to borrow the money. Now guys, I will introduce one more concept, that is the crowding out effect. Now what is this crowding out? See, many a times the government borrows all the money from the market, and by that particular thing, the private sector is not left with any money. That is crowding out. So the government said that there will be no crowding out, there will be money, private sector can also borrow. So guys, all these things have been provided here into this particular article. I hope you have understood it all. So guys, that's it. And now we'll take up the question section.
Now guys, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the Kaziranga National Park. Please read the statement and identify the right code. Now guys, the next question is with respect to the tribes in India. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 3 is with respect to the Green Strategic Partnership. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Now guys, question number 4 is with respect to the Tiger Reserve. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. So guys, that's it. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.